it's not about the product you sell, it's about the people you sell it to. I've actually turned their business around to ×4, ×5 revenue. If you build a good team around you, if you build a good network of people around you, that is how you can build businesses. That is how you can grow your business.
Hello and welcome to Dinis Guarda YouTube podcast show, powered by businessabc.net, citiesabc.com, and wisdom.ai. Once again, we keep profiling global personalities, thought leaders, and business and technology entrepreneurs and personalities. In this series, we've been bringing people I meet and people that I interact in my daily life, but as well personalities that come because of their success and because of what they've been doing. And today I'm quite excited to bring someone that I met recently, but has been quite inspiring for me and as well very impactful. First of all, because of his, I would say, humanity and capacity to look at business and strategy, but as well his capacity to work in ecosystems independent of the challenges. And I would say as well, all the different innuendos that come when it comes to business, technology, and finance as well. So I welcome to our series, Chandra Goyal. Chandra Goyal is a business personality, an angel investor and entrepreneur. He's the founder and investor at KRG Ventures Limited, a boutique venture firm specialized in making strategic investments in early stage startups and small business innovating and sustainable and disruptive technology. Among his clients are Wordplay, YAG Trading, Tonga Dive, SIA, DNA Payments, Oak North, and Focus Group. Part of their work includes specializations in real estate investments, clean technology initiatives, and empowering corporations to integrate ESG principles and climate-friendly solutions into their operations. Previously, Chandra was the general manager at Carrefour and Warehouse and the financial consultant at GE Money. He holds an MA in International Business, Corporate Strategy and International Business at Leeds University. And part of his work has been as well leading different organizations. One of the things we're going to be talking as well is the Chandra role as a member of the board of directors at the SOHO Business Alliance, one of the epicenters of London, UK, and an organization representing over 110 businesses, providing licensing and legal advice, networking opportunities, and economic empowerment in the center and heart of London. So Chandra, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Dinis. It's wonderful to be here, and I would happily want to work with and finding out more as to what's happening in the world of AI. So tell me more how we can. I think it's been an experience. It's been a journey of 20 years plus that has led me to be at a stage where I am now. And I'm truly honored to be on your show, to actually come and speak here. So I would love to get to know what is happening in the disruptive AI. I'm currently on travels. I'm traveling regularly to Dubai and Middle East to try and set up a base. I'm more keen on understanding the world of AI, more keen on deep tech, and more keen on the sustainability side of things.
Oh, thank you. And well, I think here today we'll start by you because you have a fantastic profile, and I'm interested as well to understand your world and as you build your different parts. So let's start first of all by a bit of your history.
Right.
You have a profile. I know that since coming from India to the UK, your story is as well a fantastic, inspiring story. I would like to start by your basis, how you achieve what you achieve, and as well some of the parts of that journey.
I mean, the journey started back in 1999, I would say. That was the first time when I got a scholarship to come and study at Eton College. And kind of, it was a very humble approach. Back in those days, there were no mobile phones technology available. We were still using the BT handsets and putting the pound coins in. The journey started from there. Obviously, the journey led me back to India to complete my bachelor's and come back and do my master's here. But I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit through my father, because he's been training me since my childhood that never give up in life. You always have challenges in life and you've got to face those challenges up. And that spirit has always been there. My key focus, I work with 3 focus points, which are focus, attitude, and belief. And I believe that if you have that right mindset to achieve something, then there is nothing that should stop you. Studying in London and studying in Leeds kind of taught me to have an insight into how to strategize my business decisions. I then went out, worked as a manager for Carlton Warehouse for various years. It's not about the product you sell, it's about the people you sell it to. And I strongly believe that I'm a people's person. If you build strong relationship with your clients, your businesses, your any customers that you speak to, if you treat there is a famous saying that if you treat yourself the way you like to be treated, so if you treat everyone with respect, I think you will get it back as well. I mean, I'm a firm believer that if you put your hard effort in, you will always get the success that you're looking for.
And it's very inspiring, the fact that you had from India to Eton, and as well building that. I think people underestimated how much that was when he was a child, and as well I would say as well everything that India went through from becoming at the time a country with a lot of a challenge to become a powerhouse economically worldwide. So and I'm particularly interested as well to what you said about the relationship with your father, that I know that is very important for you. And so let's touch this, because one of the things that I, like you said right now, is probably the biggest challenge when it comes to, we mentioned about AI, is not so much AI. AI in the end of the day will empower humans, and it's more about what we do and how we actually use these things for us, and how we can actually, I would say, strive in the middle of all this technology innuendos and disruption. So let's start first with your father and some of the wisdom that you get. I always like to go through this, because sometimes I think in a podcast like this, we might think, okay, we'll talk about the cutting edge stuff, but these things are as cutting edge as the rest. And sometimes this is what makes a big difference in success or failure.
And Dinis, it goes without saying that we all have somebody who's an inspiring figure in our lives that has inspired us to become and be who we are. And I believe my father's played a key role into the entire process. At the age 4, he kind of taught me the art of negotiation. And I start by giving a very fine example. I think I mentioned it to you as well, Dinis, where he sent me to 3 different shops to buy a pencil and asked me which one will be the cheapest shop of this. As if the product is the same, the price is different, where should you go and buy it? And that kind of inspired me, the art of negotiation, what I learned of him at the age of 4. So over the years, I've realized that my father plays a very key role into my life. I'm 43 now, and I still believe that every morning I still make a phone call to him and I speak to him for 10 minutes, purely because the wisdom of knowledge that he has versus what I have is nothing. And I always believe that when you learn of your elders, you will never go wrong. And that is the key I always have worked my life with around, that when you learn from your teachers, you learn from your leaders. I think the key person that you always learn of is your father. And I think if you have a good relationship with your parents, always maintain it. They will always want the best for you as a person, and they always want to see you successful. So that's why I always believe in that.
And that's very beautiful. I would like to, so can you tell us a bit the story of the pencils? I know that is a small one, but it's a very beautiful. I think it's really, it's the pearls of wisdom.
I remember I used to go to school and I was like, Dad, I need to buy a couple of pencils. And it's like, okay, well, I can go with you and buy it, but I want you to go and buy it. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So he would give me some, he goes, I'm giving you some money, but I'm not asking you to buy it. But you need to go to 3 different stores, try and find out what the price is. For example, if the price of pencil is like 20p or 30p, and then one shop is saying it's 50p and the other one is saying 80p. So it's like, is the pencil the same? I'm like, pencil is a pencil. He goes, but what about the quality? Is the brand? I was like, yeah, they are pretty much the same pencil, which I was normally going to get. So he goes, which is out of 3? If you total them up and find out the mean average price, what do you think the mean average price should be? And then I'll give them a mean. And he's like, okay, so in that case, where do you think you should go and buy that? I was like, the shop A is the cheapest, Dad. Okay, so you should go to the shop A and buy the pencil from there. And that skill in itself taught me, till date, I actually use that skill, because when I make important business decisions in terms of paying out to my suppliers or anyone else for that matter, I always get 3 quotes. And that 3 quotes kind of gives me a base leverage as to what the price would be. And that kind of helps me then determine what price I'm willing to pay for a product.
I know that is a simple thing, but this kind of things are sometimes common sense and wisdom that we forget. So yeah, Chandra, from having a scholarship to study in Eton, which is one of the most prestigious and expensive schools in the world, to building a career. Tell us a bit about that, whatever you want to share with us.
I think the journey started at Eton, taught me and gave me and built me to who I am. I think I was the only entire Indian boy inside the entire hell, and back in 1999. And what I learned from there is that no matter who you are, you should be who you are and not try to be somebody that you're not. It gave me that being an individual and have my own thought process and ideas that I generate in my head. I can execute those ideas without being influenced by somebody else on those ideas. That's number one to start with. And the journey then continued where I got a further scholarship to study, but obviously I could not, for the reasons that I could not afford the education at the time. And that kind of didn't set me back, but I did go back to India and did my bachelor's in business administration. But that was a pivotal moment in my life where I realized that I cannot put further pressure on my father for money. I do come from humble beginnings. I have seen what struggles of life could be presenting you with. So therefore, while I was doing my studies, I kind of looked into a couple of part-time opportunities where I could really work and get some sort of money to pay towards my university fee. And the way I started that was I kind of used to work on different commercial exhibition events. And then I realized there's an opportunity because I could take all my students from my class and work in the same expos. And that somehow I managed to generate back in those days nearly the fee money to actually pay for my entire master's degree by myself. That was a moment where I actually paid for the entire degree by myself. I got the offer letter, unconditional offer letter. Once I've got that, I showed it to my parents and I made my own journey back to England in Leeds, and I finished my master's in international business. And that journey carried on and I never looked back since then.
It's very inspiring, and I know that each person has their own struggles, but that's one thing I like is people that build with what they have and they really are successful in that. So now tell us about your career and the work you're doing in your companies.
So my journey then started with I kind of worked in different jobs while I was doing at university in Leeds. I used to work for a company called Carphone Warehouse. I just joined in as a part-time job thinking that this will just pay my bills kind of thing. But it soon turned out to be a full-time career. And I kind of grew up in ranks. Within 6 months, I became assistant manager. Another 6 months, I was a branch manager. And what I learned once reached the branch manager level was it's in line with the degree I was doing in masters and understanding how the business domain works in the retail industry. So I stepped into the retail industry very early days, and today I hold nearly 20 years plus experience in retail. And like there is a famous saying that retail is all about the detail you put in. And as long as you got the detail right, you got the retail right. And if you got the retail right, you got the detail right. So there is a cross function there. That journey then continued and brought me to London back in 2010. I continued on working on my own retail business. I worked in Carphone Warehouse for a few years. After that, I managed to look for a business opportunity, and I thought there's something I can do it myself. I don't really need to work for somebody else. I then went ahead and kind of found myself a business, which I actually found online. Went to mystery shop the owner of the business, told him I'm there to buy his business. 2013, I still have that business on me, and where the business was and where the business is, I've actually turned that business around to ×4, ×5 to the revenue what he was making at the time. And then grew it into COVID times. I managed to even survive COVID and opened up a second business in Soho, along with sitting on the board of SOHO Business Alliance, which kind of gave me a purpose. All small businesses need a voice. And the biggest purpose of forming SOHO Business Alliance was we all coming together and working towards a common directive where the voice of all small businesses can be communicated to the local council, to the local government, to the local businesses. And soon enough, we grew in numbers. And today, we have direct reach to all the major politicians, all the political bodies. And we're trying to make Soho a business district which can thrive on nighttime economy, where again, we are working with the nighttime economy leader, Michael Kale. He's a very dear friend of mine, who's really passionate about saving the nightlife in Soho. Along with this, while I was doing this, I also happened to come across my friend, Oliver. Now, Oliver is a very dear friend who I met as a customer in my store, believe it or not, and who then became a business partner of mine. And then I went into the world of venture capital with him. And understanding the investment world was completely different. Well, I did have a degree in it. And obviously, I was always passionate about opening up new businesses and practice. And what Oliver taught me is that no matter what you do in life, if you believe in a product, if you believe that this is something that you can do together, we even devised a plan where we were on track to actually buy 25 stores within 1 square mile of Soho. We actually plotted those stores down as well. Unfortunately, we couldn't devise the plan because COVID struck at the right time. And obviously, we could not be executing the plan because of that. But having said that, we've been in touch. Oliver's been a key strength and a good friend. We went through leaps and jumps, and that's how I found myself stepping into the VC world and stepping myself into an investor world. I do have a family house in India. I am also an LP, an angel investor. I've made a couple of investments into deep tech. I'm currently on track to expand KRG Ventures, which is my firm, into Dubai, India, and also possibly in Singapore. So we are actually aiming at different angles. And meeting Dinis was really fortunate for me because Dinis and I share the same vision in terms of making small businesses more powerful than larger businesses itself, because smaller businesses have a passion of growing, but they can't grow because they haven't got the tools to grow. And I think what Dinis and I are trying to build here is giving the small businesses a voice, giving them a platform where they can thrive and grow.
Well, thank you so much. And it's very inspiring. So, Chandra, I want to let's look at your stores and the small business that you create. And from that, how you start building an international investment network. So, and as well about the SOHO Business Alliance, because I think for people listening to us, sometimes I interview here, of course, from NVIDIA to IBM and a lot of big corporations. But in the real chunk of the world economy is, like you said, and actually it's not so small business, because in the end of the day, there's still a lot of business, because there's the mamas and papas and there's the medium business, which is the biggest chunk of the world economy. Actually, the biggest chunk of the world economy is mamas and papas, that they call this micro business. The SMEs are actually less than we think. But I would like to hear that experience from, of course, your entrepreneurial experience of building this small business and then being part of an ecosystem of small business. Because I think that's one challenge that even me as an entrepreneur and as a thought leader, I always forget, is that in the end of the day, you have to have your ecosystem, even if you are in a digital world, more than ever. A bit of touch on that.
So when I built my business, obviously, if you build any business, obviously I was working for somebody else, and suddenly I was given a task to work on my own business. The first 5 years of building my business was really challenging, because at the end of the day, it's not easy when you are wearing different hats. So you are ordering everything. You are actually taking care of orders, supply chain, you're ordering, making sure that everything is on ticking, like in terms of bills, everything is paid, accountancy, books are prepared, everything. What I realized was, while building up my business, is that I cannot do everything as one person. I cannot have carbon copies that can be doing multiple things at the same time. And that is where I felt a team is necessary. And if you build a good team around you, if you build a good network of people around you that are committed to achieve your common objective for your business, that is how you can build businesses. That is how you can grow your business. So it's very important that we work with the right people around us, with the right mindset around us. And they are also committed to achieve what you are trying to achieve ultimately. And once you have those kind of people, I think you have to act as a democratic leader rather than an autocratic leader of assigning the powers and let them run the business for you. Because I think where small businesses sometimes fail to understand is giving away the power to somebody else to actually run things for you. I understand there is a cost mechanism to it, but in order for you to grow, prosper, and become better version of yourself, you have to release the power to somebody else to go out and actually perform those tasks for you. And I think the minute I realized that, and the minute I started giving out opportunities to the right people who are working with me and doing things, I kind of have executed the powers to them. And they now hold the responsibility of my business to make those businesses better. The minute I did that, I started growing faster than where I was. Because if I hadn't done that, then I would have been stuck in the same place for a longer 20 years, like 30 years, and I wouldn't have known what the world outside has to offer to me. So while I'm talking to you guys right now, my businesses are working for themselves. I don't necessarily need to be there. And this is what the freedom of doing the self-business you can achieve. And when you collaborate those efforts together, like SOHO Business Alliance, where now that we realize, okay, we can be independent, we can go out to these meetings, we can collaborate. I offer free service. We don't get paid for SOHO Business Alliance being a business SOHO Alliance director. This is our way of small business, my way of paying the society back that I work in. And I think if everyone's passionate about giving back to the society where they work, I think world will become a better place. And by sharing business ideas, sharing business practices, we do have First Tuesday Club where we all gather together. We actually share our vision. We share what the best practices in businesses are. Everybody learns, everybody prospers, and together we grow and become better.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and really, I think you touched two things that are key: the fact that you build a team that actually can scale the things you're doing and really help you take things to the next level, but as well the fact that you build part of a community. So, and you are part of that community. So, before we go specifically in the areas of, I have a couple of questions on the delegation and leadership, because I think it's a big thing that I think anyone needs to be working every day. But let's go to the SOHO Business Alliance that you are part. So I know SOHO, for people listening to us, is of course the center of London. I think if you live in London, I think everyone knows, but worldwide, there's as well the New York equivalent, but it's one of the most thriving areas of the world, let's put it that way. So tell us a bit about what is the SOHO Business Alliance, and as well, for people listening to us, sometimes you forget, but in this area, there's a couple of £1 billion. It's 1 square mile, and there's a couple of £2 billion of business per year. So a bit of the context of the numbers and the organization.
So SOHO Business Alliance was originally formulated after COVID. During COVID, we all realized that we all actually need each other, and we should have a unified voice. If there is any problems with the licensing side, if there is any problems with the council, if there's any problems with the security, if there's any problems with, because if one of the businesses complain about something, then obviously there is no action taken. But if jointly we all come together and we understand there is a problem, we understand there is an issue, how can we address those issues? So when we would go to the local council, we work with them, and they're also pretty good at working with us to understand, okay, these are the local issues. How can we sit together on a common table and resolve those issues? SOHO Business Alliance currently serves 180 businesses now, and we are growing in numbers day by day. We have sponsors like Amex, we got sponsors like DNA Payments, we got big companies that are actually sponsoring our move. We even have our own WhatsApp little group that we all talk to each other. If there is a crime in the area, we report that crime to the police very effectively, but also communicate with each other what are the problems we are facing on a day-to-day basis. Also, if somebody needs help in terms of borrowing something from each other. So we build that little community where we all talk to each other. We kind of relate our problems to each other, and we try and resolve it between us before we take a bigger action on anything. Now, the biggest problem what we are facing currently in SOHO is the issue with VAT tax-free shopping that the country is facing. Scrapping VAT tax-free shopping has certainly had a negative side to it, that the tourism has dropped in London to France and Italy. We are kind of losing on average £23.6 billion a year in revenue that could have potentially come to England. And all the big high street shops are now shutting down to fake Wonka bars. So we want SOHO to live and thrive. The most idea of people coming from globally to SOHO is to enjoy the nightlife in SOHO, enjoy what SOHO has to offer in terms of the nighttime economy. And slowly we can see that nighttime economy dying. However, we are currently we work with Rishi Sunak, we work with the Nighttime Economy Minister, Michael Kill, he was on board as well. And we've tried to have effective breakfast meeting with them and try and underline those problems. Because if the government doesn't listen, if the local council doesn't listen, then there is no way a business can thrive. I mean, I do understand that having a nighttime economy would be beneficial. I mean, if there is a series of schemes that can be tried in central London, which could be where you allow Central London, part of Central London, on a pilot scheme to be allowed to be open for 24 hours. There are many cities in the world that are open for 24 hours. Certainly, we can try that with London. Of course, it's going to help the economy as a whole, and we will definitely make more better choices in the economy. And if that project on Main Oxford Street becomes successful, where the Main Oxford Street is open for 24 hours, I have a feeling that we can actually later on expand that network to the entire Soho. And Soho becomes the nighttime district and a world commercial hub where people need to come in and they need to try. And obviously they need to spend their money and they want to enjoy it. And we've got fantastic communication system. We always have the fantastic transport system in the world as well. That we have the new Elizabeth line that's connecting us straight from Heathrow. So even the tourists that come in, they have their 3-hour flight. So they don't even have to face any traffic. They can sit in an Elizabeth line straight to the airport and they can leave. So it kind of we have done the improvement on the connectivity side of things. Why can't we improve on the licensing side? Why can't we improve on longer hours side?
That's impressive. And one thing I want to touch is how important these groups are for thriving economy, to create cohesion, and as well to create sustainability. So let's look at the numbers. So you mentioned 180 business. So in terms of economy, how much is worth this 1 square mile of central London?
So 1 square mile of central London plus the entire West End, I can say, contributes nearly £2.5 billion in business rates a year, which is a very significant number if you come to think of it. I mean, if it adds a very good value to the GDP of the country itself. And what I want to focus here, and I want to get the message out there through your channels, is to the Mayor of London, to the Deputy Mayor of London, Howard Dober, who's been very keen on working with SOHO Business Alliance to make this into a very good business district. Now, I may appreciate that there might be a political view to say that some of the residents in Soho do not like a lot of noise, which I completely understand. But then the council and the government and everyone else around the local bodies should work on a solution that can be effectively imposed where the soundproof windows can be put in. There could be a lot of solutions that can be come up with. I do appreciate people who have been living there for longer times, and there are problems. Every country, but if we close the businesses down, if we turn Soho into a ghetto area, we will not prosper. And businesses need to prosper in order for economy to grow and develop. £23.2 billion in VAT tax-free shopping has been lost. Now, that money, if that comes in central London or it comes in the economy, what kind of changes can it actually build to the economy? So we want to attract tourism here because the bloodline of London, let's face it, is tourism. That is where the London is growing and thriving. Now, if we're going to take the bloodline away, you know what will happen if the bloodline of London has been taken away from London. And we want to wear the crown in Europe of being the best shopping destination in the world. Now, we are slowly losing that because obviously it's not attractive anymore. The second factor, which I really, really want to push through your network, is effective policing. Now, we all know there is a big problem on policing side of things, our streets. Right now, even though there's big chunks of money being collected in taxes and everything else, we do have problems where phone snatching is happening a lot on Main Oxford Street. Now, the police is trying to address those problems, but still the problem still exists. We still have problems and I don't blame the police for it because obviously they haven't got more police force. Now, if they have more officers on the beat, if they have got more bobbies on the beat, we call it, the solution can be found. I mean, for one example, we do have the best policing in the world. We have the best police in the world in terms of resources as well. So why can't we hire more people, more policing? And even if we can't hire more people, we should be able to effectively have a budget that can be released because I do understand there is a Home Office budget allocated to the police for private securities or other operations local to the area. So MOPAC is effectively working in central London. One thing I'm really pleased to say that now, finally, after repeated efforts, they're installing extra 100 cameras within the Soho district for security and safety, which is a very good move that they have listened and actually they're doing something about it. But I think there is still a lot to be done.
And this is something that I want to touch for my channel, and I appreciate this, Chandra. And I think this example is an example of, at the moment, with so much technology, so much, and you mentioned AI, is that we're not using these tools to empower our businesses. In one end is that, okay, you can actually, like you said, use chat up groups, use PR, use digital, use even AI to empower and create new solutions. So I want to touch that. So from his experience working on this business ecosystem, because it's one of the challenges, that's why I create businessabc.net is I go around the world, and ironically, when I mentioned this to you, but I want to share this with the audience. When I create Business ABC, people were telling me your content or the content of the platform is too sophisticated. And as an academic, I thought, okay, no, this is not academic. It's actually quite down to earth. And then I started talking with a lot of business personalities, and I was in shock. And so I think a lot of the things we're talking in this channel, I'm not talking necessarily in our conversation, when I talk about artificial intelligence, most of the people just want, like you said, your business to be solved. And there's so much stuff we can do just if you join forces and we create this kind of groups like what you guys are doing. And this is actually the epicenter of London. It's not like I'm talking in some Africa part or Latin America or Asia. It's one of the top cities in the world. So I want to touch more the SOHO Business Alliance, how it works, because I think this kind of things, most of people, including myself, sometimes forget this. And you are part of your business, you're striving to do your business, and you forget that you still have a lot of humans. It's not everything digital, and there's a lot of opportunities.
SOHO Business Alliance committee is made of people from different walks of life. So you would not believe, but SOHO Business Alliance, we've got people like John James, who owns the entire SOHO Estates. We got people like Victor Garvey, who is a Michelin star chef. We got a very diverse mix of people on our board. And that is what is the essence of SOHO, where we got George, who comes from the nightlife industry. He's all into jazz. He's trying to build his jazz empire in Soho. We got Peter, who looks after the planning side of things and advises on planning side. We got Alan, who kind of looks after the licensing side of things. So we kind of got a diverse range of people who can effectively help businesses because we all are coming from different sectors. And then we got our lovely Jo May, who's our lovely secretary for SOHO Business Alliance. And I think she's the one who keeps the glue of SOHO Business Alliance together. She effectively communicates with everyone every single day of the local problems or anything that needs addressing within SOHO. And what we also do in order for us to have effective communication is we regularly do have our board meetings. So we have once a month, we do a first Tuesday club where everyone's invited who lives and works in Soho, kind of who can come in our meetings, understand what the local issues are and what are we trying to actually do to resolve those issues. So that way we are effectively communicating with every member. And then we have the social media groups that we communicate our channels through to try and understand the problem and what can be done to actually fix the problems.
Oh, that's impressive. So let's look. So you mentioned that through your own business network, you build first of all the stores that you built and that you've been scaling, and at the same time you start partly of our investment initiatives around that ecosystem.
Yeah.
If you could highlight this, because it's quite inspiring, but as well, I think for people listening to us that are right now probably worried about AI automation and a lot of different things, we forget how much opportunities we have if you scale on these directions.
So as I was scaling my businesses, I learned there is issues around inventory. There are issues around how do I effectively handle money, or how do I effectively handle tobacco, or how do I handle. So I put things in place which kind of automizes the entire process within the retail domain. Of course, anything you do requires investment. You got to spend money to make money. There is a common saying. So far, I put up machines where you put in the notes, it automatically gives out the change. I put in the machine controls where it will effectively tell me exactly how much we are selling, and it helps us with the inventory side of things, so we don't have to over order ourselves or under order ourselves. We only order what is actually required. We did computing systems with the EPOS system, where it can predict what sort of supply is ongoing, what are the customer trends are, what the current ATV is, what the current per transaction values, everything we kind of generate into one. So in both my retail businesses, I've invested nearly £60,000 just to make and automate my businesses for next 10 years. Now, if I look at that investment over the period of 10 years, that's just £1,000 a year that I've invested into my tech. But has that made my life easier? Yes, it has. Has it made it more automized, my business? Yes, it has. So if you look at the pros versus the cons, everything adds up when you actually invest. So I think it's all about small business understanding the need of AI, understanding if there is a website, they have a commercial platform that they're actually selling something off, and suddenly they realize, okay, they can't handle all the queries. The AI can actually answer most of the FAQs that their customers generally do ask on the website. For example, when is your store open? What other products do you sell? What on the holidays, what are the holiday days? Are you closed? Are you open? So there are a lot of things that can be really automated in a small business practice. Another thing I think the small businesses face the biggest problems: handling of receipts, handling of paperwork, handling of other things. And I think what the business ABC's kind of done is from Dinis, as I've seen the product itself, is it kind of streamlines and builds an ecosystem around it with different services under one domain. So rather than you logging into 10 different websites, you just log onto one domain, and that domain kind of serves all purpose what you're looking for. So it kind of saves you time, effort, and money, and therefore you can effectively grow your business, develop your business. You can focus on more key areas which are important to your business.
Yeah, but I think we need and this is where your experience is very precious. And I think the challenge with a lot of technology companies is that they can very easily spend, millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars without solving really the problems of people. So I want to go right now from your experience, and you're going to be doing more, I think you and me, about the business ABC and how to solve problems around business and how to use technology and AI for that. But I want to go right now to your experience, and this interview is about you. So you build a quite substantial network around as a business investor, as well a networker with the global ecosystems of investors, VCs, and so forth. So tell us a bit about that work, and from London to India to Middle East, some of the work you're doing. And right now I know that you are building a lot of footprint as well into expanding these networks. So a bit of your experience and about your companies as well on that.
So currently I'm a VC partner for 888 VC, which is based out of India. They're also a SEBI fund license with 160 CR in India. And also they have got a Delaware fund in the US. So being on the team of 888 VC kind of, and also an investor onto that platform, what we're trying to build a platform is where investors on one side, we got the startups on one side, and in the middle, we got the mentorship program. So the startups that feel that they're not ready to actually seek an investment, we kind of liaise with those startups, bring them to the mentors, and the mentors will actually train them to get startup ready. And in order for for us to then secure the investments for them. So that optimized process in itself is driven by AI and blockchain model, whereby the startups can submit, the software can automatically realize what are the missing key links that needs to be changed in order for that startup to become investment ready. So we're kind of working on that technology outside. A couple of other investments I have made is into land and properties in India as well. And right now what we are doing is we are growing through Dubai, because obviously Dubai being the center epic right now for investor world, purely because the taxing policies are currently in favor in Dubai, more favor in Dubai than in the UK at the minute. So I think more investments are made in the center of Dubai. So we are in the process of currently setting up our own office in Dubai, and we have good strategic partnerships with a couple of our investors and private equity base, with the HNIs, family offices, LPs and GPs that we are currently working with. And we are creating a very good deal flow that actually would help us materialize some big size tickets. So that's what we are effectively doing there. And also we are trying to help UK-based startups that are actually effectively looking beyond UK to actually go out and actually seek investments, not just in the UK platform. We can also help the startups in UK to put them on a global stage where they can actually go in and they can actually ask for the investment money that they need in order for them to grow and prosper without paying too much of tax.
You touched the mentor part. Can you highlight the mentor part? Is one area that I'm very passionate myself, and it's very important because if you see from people like Steve Jobs to other people in history, the success, and that's probably I think the biggest success of Silicon Valley is the capacity to have these mentorship programs.
I think the key part of any startup to be successful is to have the correct guidance given to them. And I think that is where most startups fail to secure investments, because they think their idea is $1 million idea, but again, they haven't got the expertise to actually look through the whole pitch deck to understand that some of the numbers that they are provided don't add up. Or maybe the strategy is wrong, or maybe the exit is wrong, or maybe the process that they're trying to build, the idea is not clear. So in order for us to have more mentors, what we tried to do is we built an ecosystem again where all the investors, angel investors, HNIs who want to be part of the sponsorship program, we kind of build them together and build them on a mentorship program where mentors can also mentor these startups, but also then effectively, if they like those startups, can also become a investor on those startups. So we built an ecosystem on WhatsApp where the mentors are from different countries globally. I believe Dinis is also a mentor in lots of other projects as well. We go and speak with the experts in the industry who have made investments on a personal level as well as on a company level, and would they like to be part of the mentorship panel. And I think the mentorship panel purely works with, if you are passionate about putting in your hours, the mentors do get paid as well, because at the end of the day, time is money. So if these mentors are coming and giving their 20 years, 30 years of experience and guidance to these startups, it's only fair that they get paid for their time as well. So what we do is we match the startups. So for example, if there's a tech startup that is actually looking for advice, we will look through our mentorship and see who is the effective person who's got years and years of experience, and link that mentor with the startup who's looking in the form of tech. And then they pair up together. They kind of set up regular meetings. They set up regular timescales in what those projects could be executed. And once it's been executed, the mentor also sometimes are so keen that they actually want to invest their own money into the platform because they believe that product has got the worth. And I think when they handhold these startups and actually take it to investors also, as an investor myself, I have more confidence to invest when effective mentor is actually found on a pitch deck, that they are the ones who are actually training these startups to become something.
It's fantastic. And I think these ecosystems are really key for the success. And partly, if you look at the biggest entrepreneurial startups and ecosystems of startups around the world, are the ones that have the mentor programs and the relationship between all the ecosystems you mentioned. So from the work you're doing on your organizations, I don't know which ones you want to highlight. So you have the investor, you have the fund. What do you want to share with your audience? And I don't know, specific case studies that you wanted to bring, because I think this is the key element that I always try to bring to this channel.
I think we all start up somewhere in life, and I have a message for all three communities here. I'm not just going to say one community is better than the other. I think startups really put in their hard-earned efforts into idea, process, making those ideas. There's a lot of effort going in, day and night, sweat has gone in to actually build something. But I think where the startups need to really look into is, are they tapping into the right channels to borrow the money to actually proceed with their startup? Because sometimes the startups are victims of fraud agencies, which are easily available, accessible online these days. They promise you arm and leg, but they take your startup initial money and then they can't get you the funding. So I think for startups, it's very important that you do the right research, where you're going, how you're seeking, how you're going about securing that investment that actually you need in order for you to grow and prosper. Whereas also on the side of investor, like I just said, the mentors would be the ones I would suggest every startup to have one mentor at least, or few mentors at least, to actually at the initial stage to guide you through the entire process. And once you have achieved that, from the investor perspective, out of 10 investments we make as investors, 9 of those investments kind of fail. The reason why they fail is because they don't have the right mentor to guide them to go through the whole process. Those investments, they get it, but then they don't know what to do with those investments. And what an investor always hates is when we have invested the money and the money is still sitting in the bank account doing nothing. We want that money once we have given you that money, we want that money to be effectively put back in the market for it to generate X amount of ROI in order for us to then see, okay, this company is really growing. I think the biggest frustration, I'm sure my other investor friends will share, is when the money is just sitting in the account and doing nothing. And when we ask the founders, what are you going to do with the money? The answer is we are not sure. So if you're not sure, why did you seek the investment in the first place? So this is where I think we need to find a balance between the three categories: investors, mentors, and also the investors. The startups. We got to have that balance. And I think if everyone works on the same wavelength, more startups will be more successful. And I think that number 1:10 would actually slow down to a few numbers.
Yeah, this is a key element, I think, that business and every organization around the world, or startup or even SME or fast-growing business needs. So I think we're wrapping up our hour, and Chandra, there's been a lot of inspiring moments, I think, from all the different varieties of things you're doing. So for people listening to us, and I have different kind of audience, I think I have more sophisticated people, less sophisticated, but I think probably the most important is the common sense. And I think that's what I love about you, is this common sense, and as well a focus of being practical in terms of solving the problems and at the same time building an ecosystem. So tell us a bit about some of the advice, and as well probably some case study, or at least what would be the ideal that you suggest for the younger people or entrepreneurs that are struggling as we speak?
I think I always say this time and time again, and I'm willing to share this with the young entrepreneurs which are trying to build something for themselves and are very ambitious to actually achieve something in life, that always start with building up your network, because your network is your net worth. And if you get the network right, you will get your worth right. So most important factor is start focusing on your business idea. Put your ideas on paper. I always say this, put your ideas on paper. If you're just going to talk about it, there will be nothing happening about it. Put your ideas on paper, shortlist your ideas into top 3 ideas that you actually want to really work on, that intrigues your palate, and you know there is a future of that product. Once you've achieved that, then go down to a good mentor who can actually mentor you through the whole process. Look through LinkedIn, look through other news channels, look through successful people who have actually done that, and go and speak to them. Invite them over a coffee and go and speak to them. Build a good mentorship with them. Once you've built that, then try and build up your network. Go to network meetings. There's a lot of meetings available on Fatsoma, Eventbrite. Go and do a lot of networking. But once you have done networking, you will also get what are the positives of your startup, what are the negatives of your startup, what are the threats, and what are the opportunities you have got for your startups. Once you've done the complete analysis, once you've done the complete number analysis, then you go through your mentor, understand and build a business plan around it. Also look into different types of government fundings that are available out there to the startups. Find out and do every bit of research. Don't rush into anything which you're not sure of. Once you've achieved all that, then go into the real deal. Then you will get the real success. I wish you all the best.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Chandra. We'll put all the links to all the different organizations and as well where people can find you. I really am grateful, and I'm very inspired as well, because it's about how we make the complexity of things go less, and especially, like you said, build this ecosystem in different ways.
And through your
channel,
and also through your last thing, through your channel, I would like to say any startups that are actually looking to cross over borders, beyond borders, do get in touch. Obviously, Dinis will share all the information further. But if you are looking to expand yourself through the horizon, not just based out just in the UK, but you're looking to go above and beyond, do get in touch. If I can help you in some way, I'll be happy to meet you up for a coffee or something and have a chat with you and help you where I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.